Today we're going to be exploring the queen of the Northern California gold mines, Nevada City. Now you might be thinking that Nevada City was named after the state of Nevada. Indeed, it's only a few miles away from the western border of the state. But as crazy as it might sound, Nevada City's name actually came before the state. See, Nevada is actually a Spanish word that roughly translates to snowy, and it was given as the original name of this town in 1850, and the name of the county that it's in 1851. The state of Nevada came about in the early 1860s. This predated the state of Nevada by over a decade. In its day, it was just known as Nevada, but when the state of Nevada was formed, this city became Nevada City. The National Exchange Hotel was built in 1856 and has never stopped operating, making it one of the longest continuously run hotels west of the Rocky Mountain Range. It's said that former President Herbert Hoover actually stayed at this hotel while he was looking for a place to live out here. He worked in the mining industry prior to becoming president, and Nevada City was one of the first places that he came to and worked. Theater companies have been coming to Nevada City ever since it was founded in the 1850s, but this particular building here dates back to 1865. Prior to the construction of this building, a 3-story hotel stood approximately at its site. When it burned down in 1864, plans were made to replace it with this beautiful brick theater building the next year. As you can see, it has iron shutters and it's made of brick. This was done as fireproofing to prevent it from burning down. The iron shutters would prevent the fire from jumping into the building, and of course the brick construction would not light on fire. This early form of fireproofing proved most successful, as many of the buildings that were outfitted with this sort of protection are still standing today. And today, the theater building continues to be a bastion of culture within Nevada City. Believe it or not, there was a hot competition for who could build the first firehouse in Nevada City. Sorry for the pun. Firehouse number 1 filed articles of incorporation one day before Firehouse number 2 here. However, Firehouse number 2 was able to get its building completed first, making this the very first firehouse in Nevada City. Firehouse 2 operated as a firehouse for quite some time, and it still technically contains an active engine within, making it one of the oldest operating firehouses in California. In the early days, Nevada City was home to miners who worked the South Fork Yuba River to extract the easy gold within the gravels there. Several large nuggets were found here in town, but by the mid to late 1850s, the placer mining was starting to die down. This little piece of machinery here is what's known as a stamp mill. You had the heavy stamps right there, you had the shafts and rods running them, and these were used to crush quartz rock to gain the gold content out of it. Now, mining gold from quartz was a very difficult endeavor. Losses were often high, and until the 1890s with the cyanidation process, it was very difficult to get anything but the highest grade gold. But try they did, and stamp mills like this are part of that legacy. Typically, these stamps, in order to protect them from weather, would be housed within a mill building. That mill would also include concentrators, shakers, and other ways to sort the material and extract the minerals. Just behind the theater, you can find the Miners Foundry. The Miners Foundry was established in the early to mid-1850s, but in 1856, a fire destroyed the original building, and it was rebuilt by 1857. This is the original foundry building, but eventually it expanded to include several other buildings along the street here. You can see one of the buildings right there, and then some more buildings right over here, and it is currently operating down here as a winery. This Miners Foundry is where the Pelton wheel was manufactured for the very first time. The Pelton wheel was an early water wheel that managed to generate thousands upon thousands of watts of power. Ott's Assay Office is one of the oldest buildings in Nevada City. Built in 1851, it served the gold and silver assessing needs of the entire Sierra Nevada area. One fun fact is that in 1859, a piece of silver taken from the Comstock region of what was then Utah territory assayed a significantly high amount of silver, and that is what led to the Comstock Silver Rush, which created the state of Nevada in the 1860s, as well as establishing Virginia City and surrounding towns in that area. This is where it started. Right next door is the South Yuba Canal Company. This was the largest collection of canals and ditches and aqueducts in the entire state of California. It was originally used to make gold mining easier in the city, but it is still currently in use for culinary water purposes, agricultural purposes, and in terms of generating power for Northern California. After gold panning and sluicing fell out of popularity with Nevada City, hydraulic mining became the more common type of mining. This right here was a monitor. It would be hooked up to a large water source, and it would act essentially as a cannon of water blasting into the hillside, creating a sort of muck and rock mixture that then would be sorted through for gold content. This meant that Nevada City continued to produce gold long after many of the original gold rush towns went belly up. Nevada City still has many of its original buildings, and as you can see, it's a pretty bustling tourist attraction. But one thing I always like to point out with active towns like this is that they still have a local population that are very dedicated to preserving the history of their town. Although the gold rush days are long over, the legacy of the rush lives on in the name of some of the buildings, particularly the Mine Shaft Saloon. I highly recommend coming out to Nevada City if you're interested in gold mining history, or even if you're just looking for a cute little town to explore and be a part of the story. Until next time, fellow explorers.